So pit, oh yeah, yins are crazy.
And we're all in a good mood here over at the Chris Wormley Show, of course, brought to you by YinzerCrazy.com and the Yinzer Crazy podcast. We're sponsored by Steel City Wheelhouse. Make sure to check them out, steelcitywheelhouse.com. My name is Mike DeCastro. Follow me on Twitter at MikeDupSports1. That's my boy at Jordan York Music. And we are, like I said, all smiles today because just in a few minutes, we're going to talk to Chris Wormley, who had an outstanding game this past Sunday against the Baltimore Ravens and an enormous victory by the Pittsburgh Steelers. JY, you were there as a fan, going nuts, waving your towel, getting picked up by Yahoo Sports, taking your tweets. Man, what was it like being there in your Big Worm 95 jersey?
Oh, man, it was I can't even honestly put it into words because it's just as soon as that Renegade hit, man, I just got chills. I was like, every time Worm got a sack, I was going crazy, standing up and pointing to the jersey. I took my brother. We had great seats, and it was just nice because I just feel that no matter what, the Steelers are always in it. And I just feel that game was kind of like, look, it don't matter who we have, where we're at right now as a team. We're still the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we're still going to put that fear in you. And in the stadium, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. Worm went off, man. I was like, it was unbelievable. I was just looking around. I was wearing that jersey with pride. I'm like, that's my guy. That's our guy.
I tell you what, we've joked about it before between us and even Worm off the record at times. Sometimes we feel like he's a family member or a brother or something. We're out there rooting for him so hard because we know we get to talk to him every week that, like, if we see him a little gimpy or something, or we see him laying down on the field for an extra minute, we're holding our breath. We're like, please, no, God, Worm, not Worm. So seeing him have so much success all season and then letting that translate into what he did this past Sunday, which of course has been building and building. The guy's been one of the best players in the Steelers all year, was just so awesome for him, of course, first and foremost, but for Steeler fans and us, of course, too. So I'm excited. I'm ready to count him down right now, bring him into the show. Let's talk to the guy who I think has a chance to win AFC Defensive Player of the Week. Just like he said when he registered those sacks against the Ravens, we're ready to bring in Chris Wormley in 3, 2, 1.
And what is up, Yinzers? We are back with your favorite Steelers show, the Chris Wormley Show. We are here with number 95 himself. Chris, how you feeling, man?
Feeling great. Can't lie, guys. A big win for the boys. In the championship. Was super pumped to watch them Saturday night. Smacked up on some Hawkeyes, which was great. Going to the college football playoffs for the first time in school history, so that's amazing. And then the Steelers, we had a big win against the Ravens. I had a big game as well. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but I think I played pretty well Sunday. I'm excited. It's probably one of the best sports weekends for me that I can remember in a long time, probably since high school. So it's good.
Well, that's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about that game. I was there. The atmosphere was electric. You had 3 sacks against your former team. Just tell us, I seen you pumped up. I seen you flexing. What is that like going against your former team and just, having the performance that you had?
Yeah, I think, going into the week, obviously, a rival game, AFC North division opponent. We really needed this win to kind of stay in the playoff hunt, division title hunt. So I was already excited for the game, but to layer on being traded from this team, the team kind of giving up on me after my 3rd year, I definitely had something to prove. And my goal was just to have a good game, contribute to the team like I always do. But today, or a couple of days ago, was a little more than that, and I'm pumped for it and trying to carry on that in a couple nights when we play the Vikings.
Yeah. So the game at the end with the 2-point conversion got a little nerve-wracking. Everyone in the stadium, you can hear a pin drop when they drove down on the field. What was going through your mind when you went out there and you seen Lamar Jackson still out there and the Ravens are going for 2?
Yeah, when I was there for those 3 years, Coach Harbaugh and the entire team were really into analytics and going for it on 4th down, going for it, the 2-point conversions, when to go for it, when not to go for it. They were really into that. So I'm guessing that was something that the analytics team there, gave the thumbs up. I'm sure they thought they had a greater chance of converting that 2-point conversion, not sending it into overtime to potentially give us the ball back to score right away, or them get a 3-and-out, we kick a field goal to win the game. So I'm guessing that's what their mindset was. They had the momentum, obviously scoring in that 2-minute drive. But yeah, when we're going out there, I'm like, man, this is what you kind of play for. This is all the marbles. They get it, they win. They don't get it, we win. So super pumped when Andrews dropped the ball. Little sigh of relief because it looked, Lamar, he was wide open. Lamar had to drop his throwing in a little bit because TJ pressured him.
Yeah.
Shout out to TJ for a great game as well. So yeah, we came away with the win, but it wasn't without the dramatics and the theatrics for sure.
Yeah.
You could shout out TJ Worm, but if he wins that Defensive Player of the Week award, I think you have to distract him, steal it from him, and then say, I don't know what happened to it.
Yeah, that definitely. If he gets it, it's definitely well deserved. 3.5 sacks, sack fumble, bunch of TFLs, and just his presence on the field can be felt week in and week out. And like I've said before, I'm very fortunate to be on his side of the ball for most of the snaps, and to play alongside him makes my job a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah, no question about that. It was a terrific performance from the defensive line, and obviously the outside linebackers. Really a collective win at the end of the day. I want to talk about a guy who just came off the street and played really well for you guys. You were lining up next to him the entire day. Martavius Adams. I apologize.
It's Montravius.
Montravius. Okay. Yeah. I think I was thinking back on Martavis Bryant or something of that nature, as a former Steeler.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's get to know him a little bit from your perspective. Talk about his performance, what he's been like in the locker room these past 2 weeks.
Yeah. So Montravius and I, we originally met combine training. We were in the same agency. So we went out to Southern California, trained for 3 months together. I think he at one point, maybe in the combine, had the fastest 10-yard get off for D linemen. Him and I were battling back and forth all training, which was a lot of fun. But he was with the Saints. I think he had played in maybe 6 or 7 games, he said, this past season, I guess the current season, but was in Green Bay and was in the Patriots as well. Or for camp maybe. But I knew what type of player he could be, and we put him in the right spots. He had 3 or 4 days to get prepared for this game, which was a big one. And he stepped up to the plate. He had a batted ball. He had a really nice open field tackle that I think if he didn't make that going towards the Ravens sideline, it would have hit for maybe 15, 20 yards, and it was only like a 1-yard gain. So I'm excited for him to be here for the rest of the season. I know the coaches are. And I think he's going to be a big piece for us for the next 5 weeks, definitely.
Yeah, so I got to ask a question. You guys play the Vikings on Thursday. How the heck do you prepare for that quick of a turnaround?
You kind of condensed the week a little bit. Today was more of like a Wednesday and Thursday type of practices combined into one, especially for the game planning side of things. Tomorrow's like a Friday and Saturday. Then we travel tomorrow to Minnesota. We have little extended meetings tomorrow night just to cram some things in. But for the most part, it's going to be the team that's mentally sharp. Both of us are coming off short weeks. Both of us are going to be a little more sore and a little more tired than we would be 3 days later on a Sunday. So whoever's more focused, whoever's more mentally sharp with the game plan, with how they want things executed, is going to come out victorious. And I think Coach Tomlin has put us in a great spot. Right now, I'm not feeling the greatest as terms as body-wise, but mentally we're tuned in. We're making the right calls, making the right adjustments early in today's practice. So I'm excited for how we're moving and how we're feeling this early, but also technically this late into the game plan week. So I'm excited for it, and I think it's going to be a fun one Thursday night in Minnesota.
Yeah, so obviously coming off the Ravens win, talk about the momentum and how that, where your mindset is, which you kind of already talked about, but what is that momentum doing going into this game with Minnesota?
Yeah, I mean, we can even backtrack to the beginning of the season when we started 1-3. We kind of were riding high off of the Buffalo win and then kind of crashed. Those 3 losses, then picked it back up for those 4 wins, and then the tie to Lions and the 2 losses to Cincinnati and the Chargers. It's like we've kind of been going up and down this whole season, and to get this momentum this last third of the season after this Ravens win is huge for us. I think we're riding pretty high. I think we're going to try and sustain that as much as possible. And with this quick turnaround, I think if we can get this next win, we're sitting a lot better than what we thought we were going to be 2 weeks ago.
Chris, I got to have you do us a favor and hold up that cup you were drinking out of, because I think I just saw you take a sip, and some people watching might have had a few questions. I think you were telling us off the air that is your daughter's sippy cup, right? But it's the wrong color this week, is what I was thinking, Worm.
It's all right. It's I got the cap. It's a little seal proof. I took it off because I feel like I'm an adult that can handle the spillage. But it was the only water that was downstairs, so I figured I'd take a couple sips out of it.
No, it's terrific. I hope Spade is not a secret Vikings fan or anything of that nature. Hey, Chris, let's jump into some Worm association. What do you say? Obviously, this game is going to be here before we know it. We just talked about that. I want to start this off a little differently, though. We generally start off talking about the opponent and some of their players. I want to start off this Worm association with a few Steelers, a few more of your teammates, and let you talk about them a little bit. I think it was very interesting that a lot of guys stepped up in their first taste of this rivalry game against the Baltimore Ravens. So that includes, of course, we'll start with a guy that you know very well, tight end Pat Freiermuth. Why are you laughing?
Well, I'm laughing because earlier we were in the training room today. I was getting taped up, I think, or something, and he's like, "Can I send in a question for the Worm Show today? Can I put in a request or a question?" I'm like, "Pat, you can do whatever you want. Like, I know the guys know you, and so go ahead."
That happened.
And Jordan maybe, but I mean, Pat's been playing great for us as a rookie. This past couple of weeks, he's been playing great. He had that big 2-point conversion, some pretty clutch catches this last week. And I think Coach Tomlin, during the week, talked about these matchups between the new rookies on both sides of both teams, with Pat, Dan Moore, KG, Kendrick Green, especially to kind of set the tone for the next decade for those guys' career against the Ravens, against their rookies, guys like number 99, their edge rusher. So I think Pat's been playing great. Obviously, he stepped up again this week, and I'm excited for him. I don't know if that was too much of a Worm association word, but I'm enjoying Pat, and he's one of the good ones.
No, that was good. I think Pat got what he wanted, and I love that you gave us some context on that. We had to throw a shout out at our boy Pat Freiermuth, of course, and he's doing it extremely well. And he's also being a little sneaky over there, Pat. But always good to get him involved. The Yinzer Crazy Show favorite, of course. All right, let's switch gears because you touched on Dan Moore, and I was going to ask you about him too. Let's talk about the Minnesota Vikings a little bit. Obviously, this team still presents a challenge. They're in a very competitive NFC as well, where they're still alive in the playoff picture. They might have some injuries potentially. It doesn't look like Dalvin Cook will be back. Adam Thielen is currently questionable, but still some really solid skill players on that offense. Let's start with Justin Jefferson.
I mean, he's one of the best receivers in the league, and it's only his second year, so he's only going to get better. I think they do a really good job of the play-action pass and taking shots downfield. So our biggest thing is going to be stopping the run, and 25 is a really capable back. He hits the hole really hard and doesn't normally go down with just one tackle. So you can't arm tackle him. We got to gang tackle him. But if we don't stop the run, like the past couple of weeks, it sets them up to take those shots to Justin Jefferson down the field with the play action pass. So that's going to be probably one of our biggest tasks when you combine stopping the run, but also stopping that play action pass. I think kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, you killed two birds with one stone right there by touching on Alexander Madison as well, the Vikings' talented running back. Let's talk a little bit about a guy who's got some meaningful reps, a guy that you might know. I wasn't 100% sure. Talking about Mason Cole.
Yeah, Mason Cole is one of the boys. I know he was watching Saturday. I saw him a couple weeks ago when we were both on a bye week. I think Michigan was playing Northwestern, so it was good to catch up with him. But yeah, he's a guy that started his career, I think, with the Cardinals, and played a lot of snaps. Was a starter for most of his career there, and then I think he got traded and has kind of found his way back into the starting lineup. I think he moved to guard last week and is gonna stay there this week. So I'm going to be going up against him a lot this week, which is going to be a fun challenge because I know how he plays and I'm sure he knows how I play. So to go up against someone that you went up against a lot in college and was somebody that was a really good player for the Wolverines, I'm excited for him as well to not only get his shot. I think it's his fourth year, so he's looking to get that that extension or that contract, a new contract. So I know he's going to be playing hard. So I'm excited for him, and I'm excited to go up against him.
All right, I was going to ask about a few more, but you really led us down a perfect transitional road there, Worm. Let's talk about the boys, if you will. You already said it. I mean, maybe the ideal week in the Wormley household. You beat the Ravens, you get 3 sacks. Like I said, we're giving you that extra half, even though the stat sheet says 2.5. Yeah. Jordan and I already decided before the show we're calling it 3, because when you did the 1, 2, 3, we said no matter what, we're calling it 3. Well, anyways,
all right. Let's a little sidetrack. So when I would do the 1, 2, 3, my 2 fingers were taped together. I was going to go like this, so I had to go like 1, 2, and then I switched to my left hand, and I'm like, of course, I try and be cool with the celebration, and I can't even get my hands right. So
I didn't even catch that, dude. It's like you were doing some Star Wars sign. Then that's pretty good. Regardless, we're giving you the 3 sacks because I think TJ came in after you tripped up Lamar in that last one anyway. But hey, that's neither here nor there technically. Let's talk about Michigan. Just how happy are you for Coach Harbaugh in that program?
I mean, we've talked about in the past, the last upcoming weeks, but it's so cool to see Harbaugh turn that program around from what it was last year, 2-4, kind of that COVID year that was really tested him. And, he takes a pay cut. And this was kind of like the make it or break it year for him. And I think he silenced a lot of haters. As a former player, it just is so cool to see them have all the success that they rightfully deserve. And to see them beat out Iowa how they did, to see them beat Ohio State how they did, it's just super cool. Excited for all the guys. Excited for Aiden Hutchinson, who's a Heisman finalist, which is nuts. As a defensive end, is pretty crazy. So to have all those guys with all their success, it's definitely earned, definitely hard fought. But I love to see them have success, and it's super cool.
Yeah, I was going to mention to you that obviously we would like to see the Pittsburgh Steelers picking 32nd in the draft this coming year, which means you probably won't have a shot at the Aiden Hutchinson range, but I'm not going to play Kevin Colbert just yet. Obviously, there's a lot of season to go. Before we log off, any early thoughts on Michigan, Georgia?
I think Michigan has a really good shot at winning. I wasn't too impressed with Georgia winning or losing to Alabama. Like, they didn't look that great. Their offense didn't look that great. Their defense gave up a lot of points. So I think if Michigan can stick to what they've been doing the last couple of weeks, running the ball, those key little trick plays that they've had, and then passing the ball when they can, and then obviously Ojabo 55 and Aiden Hutchinson on the edge for the defense doing what they've been doing all year. I think they have a really good shot, and I'm excited to watch them in a couple of weeks, and hoping they can pull off the win.
An ideal utopian kind of week for none other than number 95, Chris Wormley. We like to say over here, of course, the early bird gets the worm. Well, I think this past week, the early worm got the bird, if you will, the Baltimore Ravens. I've been saving that one. Hopefully Pat Freiermuth maybe says something to you about that. Pat Freiermuth, big fan of the Chris Wormley show. Chris, we get another taste of a rivalry. It'll be you, former Michigan player, taking on Kirk Cousins, Michigan State Spartan, this Thursday night in prime time in Minnesota. We can't wait to see it. As always, stay healthy. Good luck. And how about How about another 3 sacks? I'm trying to do it.
We'll do a little alien sign or something next time, right?
Yeah.
Fingers good.
Love it. Thanks, man.
Thanks, fellas.
Yins are crazy. This is it right here. Yins are crazy. So pit, oh yeah. Yins are crazy. This is it right here. Yins are crazy.
I know yins are crazy, but so am I. #1 sports site in the Berg, let me show you why. The latest stories in unbeatable podcast with your favorite athletes. You know you can't pause that. Super Bowl, World Series, Stanley Cup champs. Rising stars, Berg personalities for the fans. We love our city, always Pittsburgh proud. When you're at your job or while you got your cell phones out. Breaking down the touchdown goals and home runs. Predictions and interview, who does it like us? No one. Cheering on the Berg squads, no pom-pom. Don't know by now it's yinzercrazy.com.